Hold on, let me fix this. Hi, you guys. How is everybody? Thank you so much for being here. Sorry, we had a few little hiccups. I hope everybody can hear me. I just lost Allie. That's not good. Let me go over here to the studio and get the uh, um, video that we're going to play today for you guys. Hold on. Okay. That is that. How is everybody? It's almost Friday. The week's almost over. And then it's going to be Christmas. I hope everybody is doing well. Let me get ready to share my screen. I'm going to wait for Allie to get back. All right. So before she gets back, while we're waiting for Allie, let me tell you what we're going to be playing today. So when Allie and I have been doing the calls, we divide them up. We try to divide them up sometimes by time, sometimes by subject, whatever it happens to be. Well, when Allie was doing the calls, getting them ready for the show we had last night, she messaged me to let me know that there is this ongoing conversation. It's 3 back-to-back calls between Amy Lang and Leticia. And how did we want to split those up? So I said, well, I'll just do the 3 calls between Amy Lang, and then you do like the last 3 calls, or the last 4 calls that are left, because after these calls, the next 3 calls are Harley, and it is 3 back-to-back calls. And she doesn't, now with Amy, this could have been like one of those things where, how they can get, but it wasn't. They weren't just talking about gibberish. They were talking about something important. And let me add Allie. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm good. I was just telling everybody what was going on about the whole the calls. So I was just getting to the important part. So these calls are kind of, well, they aren't kind of, they are interesting, because what's going on in around this time frame, we know that Leticia has changed her plea, right? She's changed it from not guilty to not guilty by reason of insanity. Okay. And we also know what that means. That's an affirmative defense. She's saying that she did it. And that, but she's insane at the time. So what that requires is mental health evaluations. Okay. And it's going to be it's going to be both by the state and by the defense. So that is what these conversations are about. They are about Leticia having gone through the mental health evaluation. And it's actually really, really interesting, the lies and stuff that she tells. So that's where we're starting today. And also, the third call is interesting for a whole different reason, but I'm not going to give you guys any spoilers. You have to stay for the whole show if you want to know. Merry Christmas. So are we ready, Allie?
Oh, I am so ready. I'm really looking forward to hearing this. I'm very interested to see what they say about it. So
okay, so let me say hi to people and then we'll get started, okay?
Okay.
Hey, Preschool Granny. Hey, Neat Noodle. Hey, Marianne. Hey, Alicia. Hey, Hippie Chick. Hey, Curious Christine, Little Red, Adrian, Birdie, Lariah, Curious Christine, Shelly Bean. So good to see everybody. B Crumbs, Erica.
Jen,
Yeah, babe.
I just want to say also, I cannot chat for some reason on Streamlabs at all. So I'm not going to be able to say hi to you guys. So when Jen says hi, just think of it as a hello from me too, because I'm
Yes.
saying hi in
Okay.
my mind, and I'll do it to you guys too.
And I have no idea how to fix that. So
It's okay. It's all right.
Okay. Hey, hippie chick. Hey, Christina J. Good to see you guys. Hey, Bogart. Get me a snack. Hey, Becky P. I think I got everybody. I think so. I think so. I think so. Megan. Gammy. Good to see you. Oh, Megan, thank you so much. I appreciate that very much. That's very generous. Thank you so much. Hey, Creative Minds. Hey, Chicken Shite. A million sparkles. Good to see everybody, Michelle. Welcome in. Welcome in. All right, I'm at the bottom, so I think we're good. All right, are we ready?
Ready.
Okay, here we go. Oh, we weren't going to go anywhere because I didn't push the button. Haha. All right, here we go. Now for real.
Hello. Hey, what's up? Hey, not much. You'll never guess who I met today. Who? Aunt Brenda. We finally met in person. Oh, did you? Yeah, she came to my house to drop off the money that I made doing the last job that I worked for her. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna dog sit for Trader for her on Tuesday. She's going out of town, so I'm gonna watch him for like 2 weeks.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it was pretty neat. She called me. She's like, "Where you at?" I was like, "At my house." And she's like, "Do you got like blue porch lights?" And I was like, "I do." She was in my driveway.
Aw.
But she's such a cool lady. I like her a lot.
Yeah, I
Jen.
was gonna call her after I called you. I had to get back.
I'm so sorry that I'm already asking you to pause.
No,
But
you're
I
fine.
have to. I'll forget this because it's at the very beginning of a long call that's about something else. But for one, funny. I wonder why Harley isn't. But blue porch lights. When Gannon was missing, and during this time, that's what everybody was doing on social media. They changed their lights to blue and were taking pictures in honor of Gannon.
I know. And I
my
was going to
gosh.
pause there, but then you said something and I was distracted too. So, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Can you
Like
believe
the
it?
nerve.
The
The
nerve,
nerve.
the absolute nerve. Okay. And I don't know that they get into it anymore in this call, but we're going to hear more about the situation with Aunt Brenda, with Aunt B and the dog trader.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. All right, here we go.
From a professional. So I did go because it was Josh.
Oh, you did go?
Well, it was Josh because the deputy was like, "You have a professional." She was like, "But it's the person you want to see." I said, "Okay, cool."
What did you have anything good to say today, or was he kind of recapping what happened yesterday?
Well, I just told him. First of all, I said, this is kind of crazy about this whole evaluation thing when I'm not even there. So how am I getting evaluated? I said, this is just the card that they keep pulling, this bullshit card, I said, I signed these records in July of 2020. They failed to even do that. So if they failed to do that then, and they're requesting all this time, I said, that's not part. I said, I understand that it says they can take away certain time under the Colorado statutes, but that's not part of the U.S. Constitution for a speedy trial. I was
Right.
and it's just a tactic for them just to delay stuff. I said, obviously, it's because they're just not, doing what they're supposed to do. And he was like, well, we already knew that. I said, exactly. But he explained to me more in depth, the method behind it. They're controlling, basically, what they're giving, what they're giving to them. Because they're looking at, you sign release forms, you should have gotten it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You signed them, and you said when you did competency, you're like, oh, well, we want to get these reports, but then you failed to get them. Then that's there's a method behind that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then two, hold on, I got to sneeze, I think. Two, our doctor, her, she's, they're not turning over her report. They don't have to, you know what I mean, yet, you know what I mean? And so, that's another tactic, because, it shows the difference in the evaluations. You know what I mean? Like what she did that they didn't do. What she's qualified in that they're not. You know what I mean?
Okay. First of all, let me just start here. Leticia, when you changed your plea, the clock starts over, lady. See, when you decided that, and among other things, okay? So initially when you decided that you were going to plead not guilty and you had a public defender representing you, all right? The clock started for the speedy trial then, okay? Then when you decided that you wanted a conflict hearing because you didn't trust your attorneys, didn't like your attorneys, when the real truth about it was you just wanted to get your greasy paws all over your discovery, it stopped the clock for the speedy trial. Then they had to deal with that conflict issue. Then they had to determine whether or not you were competent, mentally competent to decide that you wanted to then represent yourself, which that took time. Then they allowed you to represent yourself. And then you chose not to represent yourself any longer, that you wanted standby counsel, which was Josh Tellini and his team to represent you. And then you changed your plea again. And this time you changed it to not guilty by reason of insanity. So if anybody's running out the clock and delaying things and, you're violating your own constitutional rights, dummy. That's what you're doing. Okay. And when she's talking about they don't have to turn the report over and it is a tactic, this was an issue all throughout the hearings that took place after her plea change. Okay. It was an issue of the defense not handing over Dr. Lewis's report. That was the issue. You got anything there, Allie?
No, I'm sorry. I have not been at the phone. I was getting on to the kids. I'm sorry. I'm outside
it's
now
okay.
listening though.
It's okay.
Yeah, I totally missed the whole entire I didn't hear them either. So I'm so sorry, but I'm here now and away from them. But yeah. What were they like? I heard the very beginning of their call, of course, about the dog and the lights, but after our pause, I missed it.
Okay, so Leticia is explaining to Amy about the process because, Leticia is the smartest person in every room all the time. And she's trying to claim that the state is violating her right to a speedy trial. Okay. And that they're not following the U.S. Constitution. Now, they might be following the Colorado Constitution, but they're not following the U.S. Constitution. But she's the one that is actually causing the delay and stopping the clock every single time she either has decided that she didn't like her first set of attorneys and then they had to change them, and then the pro se, and now up until this point, which is completely changing her plea. This is a mess, and it's because of Leticia. But as we all know, we're familiar with Tecia's brand. Leticia, I take no accountability for shit, Stauch. This is on brand for her. It's everybody else's fault. And Amy's just over there like, I know exactly what you mean. This is terrible, Tecia. How could they do this to you? This is crazy.
Yeah, it took forever for her to get to trial. We also had COVID at that time.
Correct.
And then, like you said, her pro se, and then mental health evaluation, several of them. I mean, hello, when you're faking like you've got mental health issues and you don't, and they're trying to figure out if you're competent, if you have, all the issues they've had to figure out.
Right.
Yeah, it's going to take a while, lady.
And now she's saying that, I'll rewind it like about 5 seconds, because now she's talking about how much more qualified her expert witness is at evaluating her than the defense. Okay.
Oh, okay.
All
Oh,
right,
God.
here we go. Here we go. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you signed them, and you said when you did competency, you're like, oh, well, we want to get these reports, but then you failed to get them. Then that's like, like there's a method behind that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then two, like hold on, I got to sneeze, I think. Two, like our doctor, like her, like, she's not, like, they're not turning over her report. They don't have to, you know what I mean, yet, you know what I mean? And so, like, that's another tactic, because, it shows the difference in the evaluations, you know what I mean? Like, what she did that they didn't do, what she's qualified in that they're not, you know what I mean?
Right.
So that type of thing. And then he was explaining to me about, like, those records, like, because Kyle done the form for them, but I guess they're going to pick those other ones up in person. But the thing about that is, like I said, the reason they're going to get them in person is because the state hospital failed to get them back when they signed for them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's almost 2 years ago.
Yeah, so that's kind of like on them for that. And then, like, he also explained to me, like, how he was going to get certain things that, like, line up with certain things. And those are things he's wanting to have to hold on to, like, so, they come back with their bullshit stuff like they do with everybody. It's just what they do, because they understaffed and they always claim they're behind and they don't have this and they don't have that. So, like, it's just a method on that. And I was like, I understand that, but when y'all ask me for something and y'all go look for it and it takes you 2 months to find it, I'm like, I could have found it on my phone in 10 minutes.
Right.
That's where my frustration is at. I said, this report that you were looking for about these people that are following me, I could have found it right then, like if I'd have had my Yahoo in front of me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, instead of me talking through you, getting someone else to go do it, and then someone calling someone being like, oh gosh, I can't find this, or someone trying to find this Gmail and this phone, like, if you would have had that here, I said, then I could have already got you these. I said, the report because there was several police reports in Colorado Springs where I even called the police about these people out to get me, and I called and had, like, people come out. I had reports from the school, like, where I called about the people sitting outside the school, like, all that stuff. That was stuff that could have been found, like, a long time ago. Like, it just took.
Tecia Lynn, now you know damn right well those reports do not exist because those things never happen. Stop playing with these people out here, Tecia. There's no reports like that. She's bitching about not being able to find her team not being able to find reports because they don't exist. If they existed, we would have heard about them at trial. Did we hear any of this? Allie? I can't hear you, Allie, if you're talking. She is trying to talk, but I can't hear her. I'm going to keep playing, and hopefully I'll just text her and let her know.
Too long to get it because I could have already done that for you because I save everything. Like, once I leave, I'll disassociate for like 2-3 hours, like in trauma or tragedy or like crazy stuff, like, you know what I mean? It's anywhere from 2 hours, 20 minutes to a couple hours, you know what I mean? But like, how I know something is I'll come back. Like, how did I know I was at that doctor in Florida? Because, it's like you come back to the planet and then you're sitting in Florida and you're like, what the hell am I even here for? And you're looking at your text messages, and you're like, oh, okay, or you're looking at this and this conversation you have with people that you don't even remember, but you know what's going on once you read it. I said, those are...
Okay, hey. I can hear you now. Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. I don't know why. Maybe because I went in, like, I pulled up YouTube so I could chat, but it's not the audio. It's just the chat. Like, it's paused. Maybe that's why. I'm not sure, but you guys were trying something new today. With a new program, like together, something Jen has done on her own, but we hadn't done together. So bear with us. But yeah, I don't believe they exist. I mean, in Colorado Springs, is it possible that I know some stuff doesn't make it to trial, but no, I don't believe yeah.
Right, but
I'm with you.
these are okay, what's not made it to trial. Yes, obviously the prosecution, they can't bring every single little thing because we'd have trials that go on for 7 years. But these particular records are, according to Leticia, evidence of her insanity, as it were.
Right.
And so
Well, I
the
just meant I
defense would
can't
have,
say. I just
you
meant I
know,
can't say for certain. You know what I mean? That's all. Is that they don't exist. But I know this. You're right. The defense would have brought it, and the local news in South Carolina when she was first arrested, and because she was arrested down there, remember, and transferred
yes,
back.
yes.
When she was first arrested, they did do like some digging into her past, pulling all the reports they could pull from her past. So I would have thought if they did exist, if anything existed, like any reports, let's say there are reports that are not like she's saying, but that do involve her. Maybe she's exaggerating or lying. I
Right.
still think they would have been pulled by the news because I remember they had a hard time. They weren't able to get all the details when it comes to the things she had done when she was younger. And they had put that into their reporting. And I remember seeing that when I was going back to try to look at all of that. So yeah, I'm with you. I don't think they exist. And I think she's full of shit. Is it possible there's something out there with her name in it that we don't know about? I mean, maybe, but
It's possible, but I don't think it's very
right.
probable. Like, I do feel like
Yes.
if a report existed, like the incident with Florida, remember she's saying that she lost her whole mind and flew to Florida. I
Yeah.
feel like if that had actually occurred, there would be proof of it, and the defense
Yeah.
would have shown it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. See, I think Leticia, look, at the root of all the delays is Tecia Leon, because she told her attorneys that there was a video, remember, on some other phone, on some other iCloud,
Yes.
in a green Nike, stuffed in a box, hidden behind a
Green
rock.
Nike.
That
Yes.
had no, you're going to walk around, you're going to walk along this wall of rocks and you're going to see a rock that has no earthly business being a part of this rock wall. If you move that rock, lo and behold, you'll find this green Nike with, the evidence that's going to prove her innocence, plus all these other alleged incidents of, being in Canada for mental illness and all the things. And yeah, she sent her own team on wild goose chases, and they never found anything. And if anybody can tell me where that half-ass quote from which movie that came from, I will be super, super impressed and very, very proud. It's one most of us have seen.
Yes. And Johnny says the real Alex Erickson's in chat. B crumbs with a face. This imposter on panel is yeah, that made me giggle.
Yeah,
Hey, Johnny.
Jemmy Lou got it. It is Shawshank Redemption. That's correct.
Oh, I love
Very
Shawshank
good.
Redemption. It's one of my
Stephen
favoriteest movies.
Martinejo. It is
Been
one
a
of mine
while,
too.
but
It's a good Stephen King story. I love it.
have you ever seen the Lil Nas X video where he remakes that and he's like going through the tunnel, like the one that Andy made, and all that stuff? If not, I'll have to send it to you.
Yeah,
It's really
send it to
funny.
me. Send it to me.
Okay.
All right, y'all ready? Here we
Ready.
go.
All things I could have been found y'all faster. You know what I mean? If you would have just, like, instead of just coming here asking me with a piece of paper, we could have came and found it easily because you have the logins to those other accounts now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so he was like, I'm just going to, and I told him, I said, I only have one attorney. You know what I mean? I'm not dealing with the other one. Because how am I going to deal with someone who comes in here crook? I ain't going to, like, if this is, missing the bar on this, then I was like, I understand, like, you're doing what you're supposed to do. I'm not taking away the fact that I think you're good at what you're doing. But if you got someone who can, like, help you get to something faster and more efficiently, then you need to utilize it.
Yeah, that's got to be, like, frustrating to have to deal with. Didn't he tell you, like, which one of them is going to South Carolina to go pick that stuff up?
He said he's going Monday.
It would probably also be faster and more efficient if you didn't make up whole entire uh, whole entire reports and paperwork that don't exist. That's also, a time waster, but here we are. Dummy.
Okay.
Okay.
Because he
Well, hopefully.
asked me, did I want the, like what were some other points that he might have been missing out that he needed to get. And like I told him, I said, oh, okay, well, I did this therapy through the school district. That was part of the reason the school district only suspended my license for 1 day, because I was losing my mind and delusional. You need to go get that treatment that they made me do. Like,
Yeah.
it was through this company. It showed, like, because it has absolutely nothing to do with this, but, like, it just verifies everything. When, like, because see, like, what a state hospital like to do is, like, they like to be like, oh, this person is just making this up. Okay, well, if there's this evidence over the years, you ain't been having people follow you for years and you just, planned it all for years. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. All the years worth of documentation wouldn't make sense, if it wasn't real.
Yeah, and like my bipolar, like my episodes, like they have it pinpointed out. Like, okay, like here's a time when it was, to show the frequency. Because, with mania, you can go into mania, it has to be more, it's usually for me more than 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, like, it was showed. So if you make a whole chart and you're like, all right, well, let's look at this. I can tell you my plane records. Give me to access the login into my plane records, and it's pretty clear when I go into the episodes. Then match those up with any emails I might have sent during that time and any text messages during that time. That matches it up.
Yeah.
So I just was planning these trips for years. No, that ain't how it works. I literally go manic, and I am going to, I want to be a pilot. Oh, I'm going to learn French. Oh, I'm going to learn this. Oh, I'm going to go here. I'm going to go do that. I'm going to do, your thoughts be racing. You're, running around everywhere. You can't control it. You know what I mean? You're, excited. You're doing this. You're doing that. Then you can see your depressive stages where text messages show, I'm not coming out my room. Text messages say, why are you, literally message from Albert to me where, why aren't you coming out of your room? Why you stay in your room here?
Yeah.
So these are things I could have found faster than this whole process of someone else through someone else, someone else.
I just would have, I would have thought, would have got that stuff way earlier on, you know what I mean? Like when everything, kicked off. Like if there was a release signed to get all those records, you would have thought they would have done immediately. You know what I mean? Yeah. It just boggles my mind how it's taken them this long. They still haven't even come up with them. It's ridiculous.
Well, they shouldn't have ever did the competency report without it.
Amy, this boggles your mind? Really? I can kind of see how it would boggle your mind, since you don't understand how microphones work, and you're not telling Leticia that if the room has microphones, that doesn't mean necessarily that you can't hear through a microphone. You hear through headphones or, speakers, not microphones. Idiot. Go ahead. Go ahead, Allie. Did we lose you? Allie. Yep, we lost her. Okay, let's keep going.
Exactly, yeah. That's what I was gonna say. Is how could they even come to that conclusion without having all the proper medical documentation to support it? You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah, and then giving me tests and then saying on the test, I didn't answer it right, but I was telling the stories. But then there's all these years of evidence. That's the point. He's saying that he's going to, he went and got the police report from the car thing. When I told you I thought Chance was in the car. Well, he was.
Yeah.
To me, he was in the car. But then I said, get the report from the state trooper. How did they find me? They found me walking, the blood on my body, and I called 911. Now, again, here's another time, put two and two together, that I called 911. Guess who what? couldn't find out on my phone records. 911 didn't even answer the phone.
That's crazy. Everybody told me that the other day. That's wild.
I'd like to ask class, how many of you all have had an occasion, for whatever reason, to call 911? Have you ever had 911 not answer? Now, I'll tell you this. During hurricanes, they will tell you that at the peak of the hurricane, when the winds, when it just is so unsafe for first responders to come out, but I don't know. I don't think that 911 doesn't answer. They just won't come out. I mean, they'll take they'll take the call and tell you and make, once it's safe for the first responders to get out again, they'll send them. But I've never heard of 911 not answering, except for one time, except for like back in, I think it was 89 or 90 when Public Enemy did 911 as a joke. Remember that song? Get up or get down. 911 is a joke in your town. That song. That's the only time.
I don't remember Public Enemy even actually, but I agree. 911 is not going to not answer. And why is what I was going to say when the volume didn't work for whatever, that's frustrating. I don't know why it keeps doing that. Johnny says I'm busy downloading, which made me laugh, but no, but
Allie
it's like
is over here recording everything we say.
I wonder how shocked Amy, like Tecia tells Amy, she's acting like they're just doing this terrible job at getting everything together. They don't have the evidence. They're not, basically like they're not ready for trial yet, almost is kind of like the vibe it gives you. Amy feeds right into it. And I wonder how gobsmacked she was when we watched the trial and they had every movement everyone in that house made at all times. You know what I mean? They had
Exactly.
they were so good. They did an excellent job. I hope she felt like such an idiot, and I hope she feels like more of an idiot now feeding into this. But I don't think she does, because I personally think they're still buddy. But
Exactly. And this is why, if I had messaged Amy on Twitter, I'd be blocked as well. This is why we'd be blocked, because
sorry, Amy. Hey, but I didn't share your private messages. I think you could at least handle my opinion on what's out there with this case. It's not like and I still wouldn't, even if I could get them. But even then I didn't, so whatever. If you can't handle my opinion, then stay blocked, bitch.
That's right.
Stay blocked.
Stay blocked. You can get glad in them same britches you got mad in. Here we go.
And so then Melissa gets my phone, and I know all this by my phone now, you know what I mean? Melissa gets my phone and is like, you dialed 911, no one answers. So she's telling the highway patrol this, because at first the highway patrol is like, y'all left the scene. So she's telling them like, hey, well, she dialed 911. It's right here on her phone. Like, she's out of it. Can't you clearly tell? And then, of course, they come and do the
Leticia, nobody can clearly tell something that didn't actually happen. Also, I highlighted and I meant to say something and I forgot. Thank you so much to Tess for being a member for 19 months. I appreciate it, babe. Thank you so much for supporting me and the channel. I do very much appreciate it. That's all that I wanted to say, because this is just going to go on and on and on. Let me rewind it a little bit, because she's about to talk about the evaluation that the state did on her. And we know when she talked about it like a little while ago, when she said, they think I'm making it up because they're just meanie heads. No, Leticia, when you're given the MPI, okay, and there's one, I cannot remember which one it is, but there is one test that they give you that the patient actually fills out themselves. And it's like a 300 question questionnaire. Okay. If you are out there circling or marking with an X or filling in the circle, or I've never had one of these tests administered to me, so I don't know how it works, but whatever the case may be, if you're literally checking every single box for every single symptom, yeah, there's going to be an issue. Okay.
Yeah.
For example, if I were being administered that test, I have anxiety, right? So I would check off the boxes that pertain to the symptoms that I have related to anxiety. I don't have auditory or visual hallucinations. So therefore, I would not check boxes that include those symptoms. That's where you messed up, Leticia and Amber Heard. Idiots.
Yeah, I was about to say, I remember, like, if I would have been a little fresher, when I went back to college after I had Bentley, that's when I did actually well because all my other classes I took before I didn't. And I took a psychology class and I learned a lot. And I do remember learning about those tests, the MMPI and a couple other ones. But I remember like looking at some of the sample testings like in class and thinking about like basically how hard it would be to, even if you weren't trying to fool it, just because it's kind of confusing. Like they would ask you the same thing in different ways. And also they like try to basically like to tell if you're lying. I don't know how to explain it, but there's ways to tell from the test, like the way that they change the words for the same question. They might ask the same question. Yeah, it's really interesting, but I would love to see her results. I would love to see the interview video footage. Oh my God.
I wish that Dr. Lewis, if you're out there and you can hear this, for the love of Pete, please release the Kraken, release the full videos of your evaluations with Leticia, because the way that they were played in court, yes, everybody in the courtroom could hear, but unfortunately, I was not in the courtroom. Allie wasn't in the courtroom, and the majority of my audience wasn't in the courtroom either. And it was kind of hard to hear some parts. And we would very much appreciate if you would release those, please, and thank you.
Yes. Remember there was talk of like her doing some sort of documentary or something, and and like maybe that was why I don't care how it comes out, Dorothy, just release it where we can actually hear it and see it. Remember them fist bumping each other and shit?
Yes,
oh my God.
That's in the intro that I can't play to you guys because epidemic sound.
We'll need to put like a different Christmas song with it, dang it.
Well, I ain't gonna worry about it for right now. I'm just gonna let it go until after payday, and then I'll take care of it.
All right.
Here we go.
I won't slash jag you,
to make sure, I'm not like drinking or anything like that, and obviously I'm not. And so like these are the things that I could have been got you a long time ago.
Yeah, no, like so that day the time that you called 911 and they didn't answer, that would still show up though in like your phone records, right? Like you placed that call that day.
Well, because
Okay, Amy. This is a fairly straightforward question, and I don't know if you're asking her because it's a test. But the truth of the matter is, yes, your phone records contain every incoming and outgoing call, and they also show calls that are not connected, meaning it rings, but there's no answer. So stop, you know this, and I know this, and I don't know if you're asking this question like because you're trying to get to the psychology of why or whatever, but you see, here comes Leticia. Leticia is the master at dodgeball questions. She about to bob and weave on your ass, Amy.
Yeah, no, like so that day the time that you called 911 and they didn't answer, that would still show up though in like your phone records, right? Like you placed that call that day.
Well, because what I did was whenever I did it, okay, so in my Gmail, my other Gmail, what I would do is like anytime I had situations like that happen, because I was concerned that I would just not remember stuff for hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would take it and send it to my Gmail and save it all. I told you I saved everything. And I
Right.
always did that. Good. Plus, I'm a very paranoid person. Because if the people that would follow me, if they ever were to get me, that would be there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Y'all hear Dr. T over here? I'm a very paranoid person. Paranoid person is what you meant to say, Dr. T. But if all these people are following you, you're locked up. You mean to tell me that they can follow you all over Hell's Half Acre but can't get to you because you're locked up in jail? Shut up, Tecia. That make any kind of sense. Big old liar.
So I had all that in there for years on Gmail. Literally, the report where there's two reports. One's in March 2019 and one's in April 2019. One time, there was somebody in the house. I called the police. Albert called the police. I actually called from Albert's phone. And they called the police and they're like, oh, there's this. I was even write me back on the email saying, you're delusional. You was imagining.
Oh, really?
Yes. People in the house. Yes. These are text messages that can back these reports up that I can find you quicker. And emails that I can find you where the screenshots of the text messages quicker than I could have. You know what I mean? Than me telling you to go look and you're on this mission. Like, I'm sending you to find a needle in the haystack, basically. And you don't know.
Tecia, we know about those. And these were fake emails of break-ins because you're trying to get Albert to come back home. You were having a tantrum because you didn't want to be with the children, and you were trying to do anything and everything to get Albert to come back home. Stop playing with Amy. Stop playing with us. This is all lies. Those text messages prove nothing other than you're a lying liar mouth who tells lies, who lives on Liar's Lane in the town of Liarville, and you're petty AF and you lie and lie. And then you lie some more.
And lie. And do you think she ever expected to be busted? Because I always wonder, how do you lie like this when, eventually all the evidence is going to come out? And, maybe you didn't think the phone calls would come out, but I think she knew she might get busted in the future. And it was all about getting through right now. But I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I think she suffers from the same delusions that Sarah Boone suffers from. Because those videos that that the state played as part of their rebuttal case, those are videos that Sarah Boone recorded. And she talks about them in her interrogation video as if they are evidence of George doing something wrong, of it's, documenting the abuse that she suffered at the hands of George, when in fact they show the exact opposite of that. So I think that Leticia, on some level, she knows it's a lie, but she also is using it as an excuse, as if this shows something that it doesn't show. Do you know what I mean? She's ridiculous. And Amy's just her good and faithful lapdog. So she's just going to be like, of course, Leticia, I don't know how these people can't see what a loony you are. You didn't do nothing. It's just everything was on an accident. They're just being so mean to you, keeping you locked up, and they're not giving you the things that you need. And you're not even on any medication now, really. It's a miracle you're holding it all together as well as you are. Can I talk to Maria? Fuck off, Amy. Sorry, that was a little extra even for me. Did I lose you again, Allie? I'm pretty sure that I did, because Allie would have laughed at the Maria joke. Yep, I lost her. Okay, here we go.
For me, I can sit there and remember, it's like I said, when I disassociate, it'll be a few minutes to a couple hours. But whenever you come back and you're somewhere else or you're something and you don't know what happened, you're curious. You're like, oh shoot, what was going on the last 2 hours? You know what I mean? So
yeah,
keep a conscious record of that, because you're always worried. I didn't know. Was I having I didn't know what it was. Was I having amnesia? You know what I mean? Was it from all the head injuries I've had? So it's a concerning thing you keep. But these are things I could have been showed you. So I sat there and talked to him about that, and I said, bring me this, I'll show you this. And then, sure enough, he was like, okay, I found this record that matches this. And just while we were sitting there, just by me telling you what to put in your
Jen.
in your search engine to look for. How you could.
Okay, thank you for pausing, and I'm so sorry. A couple things. One, screw you, Streamlabs, because you're messing with my vibe with Jen, because I was just laughing, responding to you. You couldn't hear me.
I knew that let me talk to Maria would have gotten you. I knew it would, and that's how I knew.
At the end, I said, and is there anything I can do for you, Tecia? At the end of your rant, and then you were like, that's a little too much for me. And I'm like, no, you couldn't hear me. And then Jennifer, another thing in the chat. Hey, Jennifer. No, you're definitely not in the doghouse.
No, you are not in the doghouse. You know who? YouTube does this to Nadie sometimes too. A lot of times.
Yeah,
a lot.
And for me, I'm not even in the chat because I stopped going over to YouTube in the chat because I thought that was messing with our audio, but apparently not because I didn't do it and we just had that issue. So, yeah, you're not, or I would have just responded to you in the chat and said that and not made you pause just for that. But I didn't want her thinking that, somebody was removing her comments, and I didn't want you thinking I wasn't up here laughing at your hilarious humor.
I will say this. YouTube is okay. So I've heard rumors that there's not going to be any more tickety talks in the United States. And I think that YouTube is trying to prepare that. They've offered creators new incentives. There's new deals or whatnot for creators to do all the things. And I think when they're updating things like that, I think other things tend to get messed up. So I'm sure that it will all be straightened out shortly. But until then, we are definitely going to have to put up with the glitches. I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry too. But
I'm so sorry.
I wonder if that's actually going to happen, which we can talk about later. But yeah,
I'm curious too. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. And also, Leticia, it's not a search engine. It is called Control F. A search engine is Google. I cannot go over to the Googles right now and start Googling this nonsense that you're spewing out here, this gibberish, this made up baloney, and find. The only thing, if I went to Google, I'd be able to find is where all the things you're saying are lies. Okay? You're talking about Control F. You big dummy. Oh, Leticia's a genius. She knows about Control F. Watch out, y'all. But doesn't know what to call it. Shut up, Leticia. And I don't think any of the stuff that she's saying happened with Josh Delaney took place. I think that's why there were delays. I think that's why he was frustrated with her, because she sent him on 11 billion, wild goose chases looking for documents that frankly just don't exist, that are wholly made up in Leticia's mind. That's it. That's all.
Exactly.
Which is why
God, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, babe.
Oh, God. Okay, sorry.
Yes.
I thought I was gone again. I didn't mean to keep interrupting.
No, babe, you're doing just fine, which is why it's my opinion that the state played parts of the interview and evaluation between Leticia and Dr. Lewis and not the defense. Because it was bullshit.
Yeah, I always thought that was really interesting. Like, you hire an expert and you don't even really use them too much. I mean, not everything they did. It's pretty telling.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, unless these reports are in Dorothy Lewis's purse. Dr. Dorothy Lewis, paging Dr. Dorothy Lewis. If you have these phantom reports, please show them. Pull them out of your magic purse, Miss Frizzle, and let us see. All right, here we go.
Do your emails and search different words and stuff that's like,
you have 1 minute remaining.
Go, yeah. And then I would send another time, there was this whole thing where there was somebody in the backyard, and I called the police, And then Albert came out, and I was telling him about it, and then Albert was like, the cop was like, I'm going to get her for false reporting because there's nobody in the backyard. There was somebody back there.
Yeah.
So, like, then they both go in like cahoots together, like, did you just want him to be home? Okay, obviously you must don't know enough about me because I was perfectly fine with just me and the kids. We were always perfectly fine. It had always been just us anyway. So, no. Like,
Yeah,
there was people back there.
Wasn't he?
Yeah, and they started bringing up this whole alarm thing that they bring up now, where the alarm doesn't show this. The alarm doesn't set off only on certain things. That proves that the fact that the alarm doesn't set off only on certain things. Like, these are evidence that backs up all the different things. So you can't go back and say, oh.
Thank you for using Global Tellink.
Tecia, even Global Tellink gave up on you because let me just hold the phone. Hold the phone.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
I love the little kitties. Jen, I got a
Yes.
question.
Yes.
Can we do a search and just double check that there were no incidents at all that weren't mentioned at the trial or anything, that maybe it would be through Rachel, right? No, that's El Paso. Is that? Yeah, it would be through Rachel because that's where the crime was committed. That's where she went to jail. So it'd be through the same place, right?
Yes.
I think we should just do a double check.
Let me tell you what else we could do. Okay. We could also do a calls for service request to the address and find
Let's
out.
do that.
Okay.
Remind me later. We'll do it by tomorrow because remember, I'm waiting on her to write us back anyway. So, okay.
Yes.
Perfect.
Oh,
Right.
Jennifer. Yes, I will definitely send you positive vibes and prayers and good juju and all the things.
Oh, yeah. Same here,
Okay.
Jen.
You're welcome, babe. You're welcome. Yeah. You broke Global Tellink. Way to go, Tecia. Like the Global Tellink can only take so much of your poppycock. All right, here we go.
Hello.
Okay, I called you back on my account.
Oh, you're good.
But anyway, so like then they have the report.
Here comes Amy talking about, oh, you're good. It's fine. I've got 2 young children, and times is tough sometimes, and we have some financial struggles. But don't worry, I'll put money on your books, Tecia. You could call me. You could call anybody else you want. I won't even care. Idiot.
Of the doctor who wrote the letter here that I didn't need to be at work, and how that guy was trying to get me at work, you know what I mean? And so like, okay, well guess what? In my email shows you where I was sending, like I sent a copy to myself, and from the school email where I was working, you can see the copies back and forth because the principal was freaking stalking me with an Apple Watch and recording me with an Apple Watch. And so
really?
like, okay, yeah. So like, all right, you can see the emails where I'm messaging people that work with me about this whole Apple Watch situation. You can like, and they even write me back and be like, are you okay? Is everything okay? The principal even writes me back, not the assistant principal that had the Apple Watch, but the principal even writes me back and was like, yeah, I went through something like this a long time ago. She said a couple of years ago. And
I have to stop her right here and right now. We know this story and we know how it turned out. Okay. There was an incident between that Leticia is alleging to have occurred. And what they ended up doing is they moved her to another school. And then she sued the school. Remember, Allie, this is part of all of that. Did I lose you again? Yeah, I think I did. Yeah, this is part of that whole suing the school district situation. Hey, Wolfie, good to see you, babe. It's been a minute. Good to see all of you guys. Thanks for coming in. I think I've lost Allie. We'll just push play and I'll talk to her when she comes back. Here we go.
And she's like, yeah, we have free services through the school district for you to get help and like all this. Okay, so that there backs up exactly what I'm saying here. And these are the things that I said, we could have been put these together with this together longer. Like, yeah, we just now are getting little by little.
Wait a minute. Back the milk truck up. How does correspondence and etc. between you and this other administrator at a school in which you sued the school district, how does that back up your mental health problems?
Yeah, really. And yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, babe.
Okay. Yeah, remember we actually have that lawsuit?
Yes, we do.
Yeah. And I don't know that it would help in your case, but I'm still surprised that she won at all, even a little bit with that situation. But yeah, I don't know. It's just, to me, I think it's anything and everything she can use to try to make herself look credible to Amy, I guess. Or is she trying to do it for the D, or what is
I
she doing?
can't figure it out because let me just say this, okay? What are you going to send the DA on a wild goose chase just because you say it, Leticia? Now you're not just saying these events happen. What you're saying is not only have these events occurred, but there's actual factual documentation. There is a paper trail to this, to all of these that substantiate and back up. See what I'm saying? Your claims, right?
Yeah.
Now if you're saying this for the benefit of the DA, right? And you send the DA on a wild goose chase, which is going to result in there is documentation regarding the lawsuit and the allegations, but it's not quite what Leticia's saying it is. Okay, let's start there. Then what you've actually handed the DA is more proof that you are a lying liar face who tells lies, who lives on Liar's Lane in the town of Liarsville. Like, so, and if you're trying to do it to have credibility with Amy, what the heck is Amy going to do? She's not your jury. She can't do anything. She could convince
Is it
every
cool
single.
points?
I don't know. She could convince everybody in Facebook land that you're not guilty. And guess what? Unless they're not sitting on your jury, so it doesn't even matter. It's a big fat waste of time, but I'm so glad you're doing it.
Yeah. And Teacup, honestly, there was the bookshelf incident, but she also had like the sexual stuff that she was accusing people of I don't remember because there's so much. I honestly I need to look at it to know for certain which is which. So, I really shouldn't even speak about that stuff unless I have it pulled up because we've went through so much. How can you possibly keep track of it all factually? I mean, some of it you can, sure, but I can't with all of it. Maybe I'm just, I don't know.
I feel like the harassment that she says that she suffered came before, and then the bookshelf came down, and that was a total setup. Somebody got the bookshelf loose, and it was the men in hats and beards, and they set her up to be standing under that bookshelf at the exact right time men in hats and beards do all of the things, and they only do it to Leticia. In fact, they have the men in hats and beards have an entire department devoted solely to fucking with Leticia.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to pull it while we're looking. At least I'm going to look for it because I'm pretty sure it's in the files on my iPhone.
Okay.
Just so we can know for sure while we're listening.
All right. Okay. Here we go. Let's hear some more gibberish and lies.
But I could have done this 6 months ago. Like,
well, my question is, why can't they have, come and, like, set up a visitation with you, right? And, like, brought in a laptop, let you use it so you could pull up all this stuff on your own, because that would have gotten everything a lot faster.
Well, see, you can't do it in the alpha boost because there's like no way, because there's no internet in there. So
Okay.
now on their like in their defense, there is some obstacles to climb in that situation, but we could have been set up a plan to climb them, because you can't get internet in those booths that good. You know what I mean? And then you only got like the trap door, so they can turn the screen and show.
Back the milk truck up once again, Tecia Leanne. Is there no internet, or is the internet not so good? Because those are two very different things. You see how she switched it up?
Show you okay, here's this report or here's this or whatever. But if you go in the contact room, there's cameras in there. And so you never know who's going to be zooming in. And these cameras are good enough, like they literally can zoom in like in your room and watch you and stalk you. So like, you know what I'm saying? So so there is that obstacle. But like that's something we could have said a while back and been like, okay, look, we need to overcome this out, because I already know I'm paranoid, because I'd be paranoid about the cameras in there, and I'd be like, they're trying to look in, see what we got going on, they're trying to read our minds, like all kinds of stuff, read into what we're doing. And so we could have figured out a plan from there. And I just told him, I said, I don't have nothing to say to anybody else, because they could have already done this, and so he was just like, when I get back from South Carolina, he was like, we'll finish putting these together with this, because like, when they have a history of doing that. Like all the state hospital do is be like, oh, this person didn't like, this is what they said for competency. Oh, I didn't answer their personality test and all that right. Those were the wrong answers. That was just making it up. Well, how are you going to look when it says on there, do you ever feel like you're being followed and chased? And then there's proof of me telling someone, police reports of it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Okay. Let me just say this right here, right now, okay, Leticia? There isn't wrong answers to a personality test. It's not how it works. But again, ma'am, when you check every box of every symptom of every mental health, potential mental health illness, that's going to be a red flag to the person that is administering the test that you are malingering or feigning. Girl, bye.
And I've refreshed my memory. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, babe.
Okay, so remember the text with the principal or whatever, where he says he likes big booties and that kind of stuff, and that was what that lawsuit was with Horry County School District. Remember, he was sending her the text and stuff.
Yes.
And and we have went through it, but I just sent it to you on Facebook. So if you want, at the end we can look at it, or we don't have to. But I just sent the one paper that gives like the details of like her story with the text and stuff.
Okay. Okay. So so is there an Apple Watch involved in that one? Because I feel like there was.
I don't remember, Jen, because I didn't read through it all. I just kind of brushed through it to refresh my memory so we could look at it.
Okay.
But I just remember the text and I remember when we read through it, we were like, some of it was kind of wrong. He shouldn't have done. Some of it was more, she was making a big deal out of, but because of the positions they held, unfortunately, she got her way, at least to a degree, with it. Some of the way.
Exactly. Leticia, you suck.
So
were they trying to say you were what's that word? Were they trying to say you were malingering or whatever? Like making it up as you went?
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So okay.
Wow, Amy, you've been sitting here on phone calls with her for months, a year actually, and are you really buying all of this? Oh God, I got some ocean property in Arizona. From my front porch, you can see the sea. You suck, Amy.
So there's that for competency, but then we've collected so much of it to throw all that stuff out, and like he was basically saying like that's the whole point of it. The point is, we regulate what we allowed them to have, because they had already signed to go do that. They had already signed the lease form for doctor's records and stuff like that and failed to do it. You know, so
I think
Amy, you're okay. Let me just say this: if they already signed releases, anything that discovery works both ways. I'm sure Leticia knows this, but the state is allowed discovery. They have to give discovery to the state or to the defense, and the defense has to as well. Stop playing with these people, Leticia. Amy, stop letting her get away with this. If she's, what's the worst thing that could happen? Leticia doesn't call you again, then you save money. So it's a win-win, and you don't have to be on the phone being her secretary and listening to lies.
I think one of the biggest problems with all of this stuff, like why it didn't happen earlier, is because the defense team you had earlier just didn't really give a shit about anything.
Well, that's true. I agree with that 100%. It's definitely true. And they just focused on, talking about this and that, but they have, I'm not saying they're not doing work. I feel like you're doing more work than you should be doing because that could have been done faster for you,
Right.
So that was just my biggest thing, because they do that with the majority of people, especially in high-profile cases. They always be like, oh, this person is just saying that, or, whatever. But if they get on the stand and testify that, and then there's evidence showing differently, that discounts them.
Right, yeah. It's going to make them, well, there's that thing I watched on YouTube where they were talking about the state health hospitals that do these competency evaluations and how they basically just kind of fly through them because they always have such a long wait list. They're not really actually taking the time to evaluate people correctly, and that ends up, people are getting misevaluated as a result. And I imagine, the one there, the state hospital there, is probably the same way. They've got so many people lined up, they have to, evaluate. They probably just fly through all the ones that come into them and then, stick a little incompetent or non-competent label on it, throw it out and call it good.
Yeah, and it was so crazy. They would ask me something and they were like, oh, well, how do we verify that? And I was like, you didn't read it in the discovery? That was your whole point of having all this time.
Right?
What do you mean? It was on this such and such paper. I mean, if you wanted me to, I could have brought the document number on top, but you didn't tell me I need to do that.
Yeah.
That's crazy. There's a report from Kansas, where the one cop says something, another cop says something, and then the one lady's like, oh, she's asking us what happened, where's she been at, because she thought we were listening to country music. If you look at the time frames, it's about 2 to 3 hours span. You completely can tell the whole difference in the two people. And the doctors were like, oh, where's this at? And
Allie, do you hear this nonsense? You know what she's talking about, right?
No, I don't, because I was half watching chat and I was listening, but I was half watching chat, so I was kind of half and half.
She's talking about when they extradited her back to Colorado.
Wait, can you rewind it about 20 seconds?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I went and put in the chat, do you remember the try my nuts text? And we talked about that's a thing in the Carolinas,
Yes.
a peanut store. Yeah, and that was
Yes.
part of the thing. So I was, half. That's the thing with modding or even trying to focus on chat at all, then you don't hear as much. So I admittedly had zoned out from the audio. I'm sorry.
That's okay, babe. Here we go.
they would ask me something and they were like, oh, well, how do we verify that? And I was like, you didn't read it in the discovery? That was your whole point of having all this time.
Right?
What do you mean? It was on this such and such paper. I mean, if you wanted me to, I could have brought the document number on top, but you didn't tell me I need to do that.
Yeah. That's crazy.
There's a report from Kansas, where the one cop says something, another cop says something, and then the one lady's like, oh, she's asking us what happened, where's she been at, because she thought we were listening to country music. If you look at the time frames, it's about 2 to 3 hours span. You completely can tell the whole difference in the two people. And the doctors were like, oh, where's this at? And I'm like, you didn't read this in a discovery? Like, because I can tell you exactly where it's at, but I mean, I didn't bring it. You didn't tell me to bring it.
Right? That's frustrating. Like, oh my gosh, you think they would like have read through all that stuff to get an overview or an idea, and then kind of work from there.
Unless
But
that was just part of their plan to act stupid, because I'm just looking at them like, come on now.
Well, first of all, that's not exactly how it works, Leticia. They're going to tell you. You're going to tell a story about some situation that happened, and if you say there's supporting documents of it, and they can't locate those supporting documents, then that's part of what goes into your evaluation. Like if you just start making up things that occurred all willy-nilly and nobody can prove any of it, but you're saying that there are reports of it, and yet these reports cannot be located, then it's further evidence that you are a liar. So you're not helping yourself, and the person evaluating you is not playing stupid, and they're not playing dumb. That's not the purpose of a mental health evaluation. They're not supposed to tell you information. You're telling them the information. You're not evaluating them. Okay. When at the end of all of this, you're not going to get to go on Google and give your review, you big waste of space.
Yeah, and also, like, what is she talking about? It's two different people, and if you don't find the time and, "Oh, you don't like, yeah, oh, I know where it's at. You didn't tell me to bring my discovery." Yeah, okay, Leticia, you're such an idiot. You always know better than everybody of the professionals of every profession. But what
Exactly.
is she talking about? That it was the two different people that transported her?
No, two
I'm
different
confused.
personalities.
Oh my God, duh. Sorry, I forgot we're in Leticia world for a second, I guess. Okay, that makes sense.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Oh my God. Okay.
Yes. That's what she's talking about. You can totally tell that that's not me, that's clearly Maria Sanchez.
Right. Okay. That makes a lot more sense looking at it that way. I was
Yeah,
listening
that's what she's
like from a
talking about.
normal perspective. Okay.
Yes, that's what she's talking about,
Looks fine to
is
me.
one of her other personalities. Yeah, come on now, for sure. For reals, Leticia, I paused at just the perfect time. That sums up this whole business. Come on now.
Yeah.
Ugh. All right, here we go.
Yeah, I mean, like, what kind of like questions did they even ask you like the first time that you went? Like, what was it? What was it that made them say, you were like messing around or whatever, making stuff up? I'm curious what kind of questions they would ask.
All they did was gave me like this 300 question test. And they said, yeah, and they like answered it. They were like, answer it. Other than the little petty shit you did, like kindergarten shit, like do this, do that, like your memory, cognition, whatever. They're like, do this personality test, do this, test, whatever. Okay, so they said my answers show a severe mental illness, right? But yet, they monitor you. Okay, well, apparently you must not know enough about DID, because if you're not having your triggers, then it doesn't go off. You did nothing to induce it. In the statute book, it tells you that they could give you drug-induced things, or like induce you to see the triggers. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, to get you to switch, they can do that, which is what the other lady. If you get what I'm saying without me saying it, okay?
Yeah.
They can do all those different things.
Now, did y'all catch that? Allie?
Which part? About giving you stuff to make you go into DID, or which part?
Yes.
Yeah, which part?
That part.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's saying that when Dr. Lewis evaluated her, she did things that she knew would trigger Leticia and trigger her to switch.
I wonder who introduced her to this idea of DID, because
I think if we think back to some calls around the 2021, beginning of 2021, I believe that Leticia references, this is when she was still in the medical ward before they moved her after she threw a big old tantrum to go to general population.
Yeah.
There, she talked about a woman who was in the medical ward with her who had dissociative identity disorder. And remember, when she was able to be pro se, she had access to the law library, which means
Mhm.
she had access to all kinds of things that, like the DSM-5, right? She would have had access to stuff like that and been able to look at things like that. And this is where I think that came from.
Okay. Interesting, because yeah, I had always wondered about that anyways, because we know it started before she met with Dorothy. So
Right. Plus, if she ever was watching One Life to Live in the late 80s, early 90s, she would have remembered that whole storyline with Nikki and Vicky. Vicky Buchanan had dissociative identity disorder, and there was a whole storyline where Vicky would switch to her alter Nikki, and Nikki was just, a troublemaker and got Vicky into all kinds of trouble. But I mean, if she ever,
yeah.
ever watched any of
Well,
that stuff,
yeah, that's what I was thinking from like watching like isn't there a movie called Sybil? I've never
yes,
seen it, but I've heard people reference like a few different movies about that. So I
yes.
had wondered about that too. And then Patricia, well, see, I was focusing on the ride back and because Jen had said her transport, so I was assuming like the two people who drove her home because she was talking about the country music and you know what I mean. And I guess it is possible Amy might think that. I think Amy knows she's full of shit. She don't believe her, in my opinion. I think it's not about that for her. It's about not only like this is a famous person in her mind in a way, and then the social media aspect, it intrigues the part of her who's interested in true crime. I don't think Amy believes she's innocent. I think Amy probably knows she did it. I don't know though. What do you think, Jen? Do you think she like knows in her like at this point? Because yeah, I mean, come on, you got to catch on to Leticia's shit. You might play dumb. Surely you've caught on to some of her shit by now.
Well, I mean, obviously, she has to know she did it because that's exactly what not guilty by reason of insanity means. You're saying you did it. You're just saying
Right,
that
but I
you
mean,
were. Um,
without all the bullshit, without all the stories, without all the mental stuff. Like, I believe she knows that she did it and is trying to come up with ways to get out of it. Like, to get out of, which is this whole insanity thing. I don't believe she's buying any of it at all. I think she knows it's bullshit, but I don't know. I don't know.
it's hard to tell what's going on in someone else's mind. I just think that
How could you not, though? That's what I'm saying. Like, you're not, how could you not know that like you listen to
I,
Leticia, you
I
can catch on after a few times that she's very manipulative, very dishonest. You know what I mean? Those kind of things. And I would think she would pick up on that. And I don't know, because Patricia's comment was maybe Leticia believed she was talking about two separate people if Alex did, or maybe Amy, I'm sorry, believed that. She was talking about two separate people if Alex did. And I don't necessarily think Amy always believes her. I kind of think she just appeases her for other reasons.
I think that there is an element to to Amy that believes that Leticia isn't the monster that we all know that she is. I think that Amy knows that she did this, but I think that Amy thinks that she did it because something's wrong with her. Do you know what I mean? Like she's not that she's not like we are all like Leticia's just a selfish monster who did what she did. I think Amy actually believes that Leticia might have a mental health issue. And what we have to remember is that there are communications that exist between Amy and Leticia that we will never see because they're letters. We will never have access to them. And there might be phone calls and video visits that exist
Certainly now.
that we were not given access to, because if the video visit or the phone call contains any personal identifying information, a phone number, a social security card number, a birth date, any of that kind of stuff, even if there's a 15-minute phone call and the identifying information is 2 seconds of that phone call, they redact the entire phone call. They don't just redact the part of it.
Yeah.
So there's
Yeah.
we're probably missing.
Oh, think of how many calls we haven't got that's been on our list.
Exactly. Exactly. So there's probably conversations that they've had that we don't know anything about that might shed some light. I know what she said in her interview, that with Critical K, that she always knew that Leticia did it, that she wanted to find out the why.
Yeah. See, for me, I'm not even thinking it's that far for her. I think she just wants to be her friend and she is excited about now maybe she does want to know the why and but she doesn't seem to press her on stuff. It's like she tries, but she doesn't press her too hard. Like someone had made a comment regarding that. I don't know though. It's very interesting. But yeah, so you guys know in the chat, when we get the calls, like every time we've ever gotten them, even going back to the beginning, there's always like a few that are not there. We'll see them on the list, see who they're with, maybe see a phone number, but it'll be red, so we can't click on it or whatever. So yeah, there are many conversations happening that we're not hearing.
Exactly. Exactly.
So that's pretty crazy to think about. And Jen, now, if you think about it since the trial, if she did answer her back when Leticia wrote her that letter and stuff, who knows now?
Right.
Because we'll never hear it.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, well, it's hard to know what I just see. I think that if Amy, maybe she did start out talking to Leticia in a hopes to get Leticia to slip up or to say something incriminating or to say something that would make people hear the why this all happened. Okay. Maybe that was her intent when she started out doing it, but at the end of the day, she doesn't know what she's doing and has zero. She's not. She doesn't know what she's doing, and so where she thinks that she's getting one over on Leticia because because she's pretending like she believes everything Leticia is saying. I think that that's how it started out, and I think how it ended up is that there is a small part of Amy that feels like some of the things that Leticia is saying are true.
Yeah, it's certainly possible. Well, I think there was another layer of something she was getting out of it with her recording the things too that we're not kind of thinking about too right now. But just real quick, I want to say, Riley, I hope you feel better. Jen and I are sick too.
Riley?
Her whole house is sick, and I
Oh,
remember I told you
no.
our school shut down with the flu. I've been sick to my stomach for like a week, but today, like I was just sitting here listening to the calls thinking about how bad my throat hurts. I think I've got a little touch of the flu myself. I know Jen's sick too, or you were yesterday.
I just didn't.
So
I was just run
everybody's
down
sick.
yesterday, feeling. Yeah, I felt run down. I'm all right today.
Good. Well, yeah. So I hope you feel better, Riley, and I hope you guys just protect yourselves because it is going around big time. My mom and dad are sick. Bentley's sick. Like I'm sick. We're all sick, and yeah, I hope you feel better, Riley.
And it's
All right,
6
that's
days
all.
to Christmas. That's a bummer. You guys are sick. So Chef Boy Arbani says, was Amy deposed since she was on the witness list? If she was, I don't know about it.
I don't know either. And Bentley's sick every Christmas, Jen. I was thinking about that this morning because his cough is awful. And I'm like, wait, last year and the year before, it's just that time of year for schools. You know what I mean? And it's awful with little ones that are in school, the sickness.
That's a bummer.
Yeah.
I mean, I think what Amy intended to do was sort of like a Dear Mr. Gacy situation, right? And that didn't work out for that guy either. Not with Gacy, and definitely not after he spoke to Richard Ramirez. Which reminds me, just on a side note, really quickly, just a little sidebar. Peacock has the Richard Ramirez tapes, And a lot of the parts of some of it's been released, some of it we've heard before, but a lot of it we haven't. I'm going to watch that and I will give you guys my assessment about whether you guys, I'm always, thinking it's cool to check out, but I will let you guys know, I'll let you know about it.
Yeah. Oh, I want to know about it. I
Yeah.
definitely do. Because remember, I told you I don't know much about him. When I did like some research into hybristophilia, I learned a little bit, but more about like how loved he was by women and stuff at the time and like his groupies.
Ugh.
So I'm so interested to know more about his actual crimes.
Yes. All right. So
Okay.
are you, I'm so glad to hear that you're feeling better, Jennifer. And oh gosh, you guys are all not feeling good.
I
Oh, I'm
know.
so sorry. I guess it's going around. All right, here we go.
To pull those personalities out, they didn't do none of that. But yeah, my answers are
That's
wrong.
frustrating.
And yet there's proof of it ever since I was young. There's proof of it in school records. There's proof of it in guidance counselor records where I talked about the abuse from my stepdad. In fact, where my mom turned on me and blamed it all on me, and I was just trying to cause us to have to live poor.
Yeah, and I imagine too, like when you went there the first time and whatnot, there probably wasn't really anything that would like trigger the stress response. You know what I mean? So it wasn't going to come out. And how can they assess if somebody is really competent or not from a 300 question test? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, and like it's the thing about it is you did those tests, but then what you didn't do is A, you didn't follow up on them. B, you didn't ask for any evidence from my attorneys in. They clearly didn't ask any evidence from my attorneys in to show any of those answering of questions. Like
Right.
the whole people following you thing, they didn't even ask them. Guess what? They have the whole thing now, like of the people that were following me from that school shooting thing in May of 2019. My attorneys have all that. Have it like where I'm literally sitting there like telling freaking principal, like I wouldn't even go outside, like they were always showing up everywhere. I even went on base and was hiding out at the freaking commissary because they was in a helicopter.
Yeah. Now, they're going to take all this paperwork when they get it. They're going to take all this paperwork when they get it, and they're going to give it to the state hospital, right? So that they do have it, they can see it.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, they don't necessarily have to because
Right.
at the end of the day, the state hospital claims to be a neutral person, but they're really not. They practically pretty much work for the state. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
like, they all, like, if it's required, I don't know what they said. They just said at court yesterday, you said on Twitter, it just said the South Carolina stuff.
Yeah, just South Carolina was the only one that came up on Twitter.
Yeah.
Now, look, the truth of the matter is our system of justice perfect? No. Is our mental health system perfect? Absolutely not. We're very far from that. But let me just say this. This isn't a situation where Leticia was evaluated by the state one time. She was evaluated by the state hospital multiple times. In fact, multiple times prior to her even claiming not or changing her plea to not guilty by reason of insanity. Okay. So Leticia and Amy, that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. And a competency evaluation is very different than a mental health evaluation. The bar for competency is very, very low. All you got to do is know what you're charged with, be able to assist in your defense, which clearly she is, because to put it to Leticia's words, I could have been had it for you if you would have just told me. I'm much more faster and efficient. Those are her words, not mine. So she's able to assist in her defense. You got to know who the people in the courtroom are and their function, like the judge, the jury, and the lawyers. She knows all of that. So the bar for competency is very, very low. This is what they're really talking about is something else. And that is to evaluate her mental health as a whole. Meaning she's made a lot of claims like that she is a vampire, that there is a button in her room that summons the Volturi, that she dropped out of they were thinking maybe that they were going to recruit her to be a witch, but she felt like she was better suited to be a vampire. They send the Volturi with her to court, all the things, right? There's ninjas that come in and out of her cell, all the things all the time. So at the end of the day, it's all baloney. And this is absolutely not how any of it works. And Amy, if you're trying to get Leticia to talk to you and trust you and tell you the truth, you're going about it the absolute wrong way.
So that's what they want, the South Carolina stuff. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, sorry, Allie.
yeah.
Placating Leticia is not the way to do it. Confronting Leticia would be the way to get her you're never going to get the truth out of Leticia. She is a liar, but you can tell what her buttons are by confronting her. You cannot, placating Leticia doesn't work.
Yeah, I agree. And no, don't apologize. I just said, yeah, I agree with you. I do. I've been screaming that, since the beginning. I'm so sick of her going along with her bullshit. So I'm 100% in agreement with you, and don't apologize because, like I said, my throat hurts, so I'm struggling over here. But all right,
gargle with some salt water. That'll help.
Okay, that's it. Hey, I have some. Oh my God, I bet you because I just got some when I went to the beach. It's sea salt taken out of the sea where I go. I bet you that would be really good because the minerals and stuff in it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Absolutely. Try that, babe. Warm salt water. All right. And none of this stuff was ever presented at court. And look, Josh Tellini is a very competent defense attorney. He's a very competent attorney, period, that end right there. But he's also a very competent defense attorney, criminal defense attorney. If evidence existed that substantiated any of Leticia's claims, he would have put it on.
Absolutely, he would have. And I feel so sorry for him. I really do. And I can't imagine, like, especially seeing all the shit they probably.
Uh-oh, you cut out, babe. Yep, she cut out. All right, let me push play.
Oh, okay. So if they want the South Carolina stuff, okay, cool. That's what they'll be like mandated to give them. So like if the judge says, okay, I need you to turn over the South Carolina stuff to them, then they have to give them that. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. And then not anything else. They can hold on to that and kind of use it to show like why or how the state hospital's wrong. And there's no other way of going around it.
Yeah, because if you're going to sit there and do one thing on a test with all these questions, but you're not going to ask for evidence back on it, like, okay, my mania, we're not going to, like, how do you not want evidence on that? It's clear. Like, you could even pull my work record.
Leticia, they don't want, listen, self-reporting is not evidence, okay? So it would be beneficial if you have this evidence, and by you, I mean your team, it would be beneficial for your team to give the supporting documents to the state who is evaluating you for your mental health. That would be beneficial. There's no reason for your attorney to withhold that information, I don't believe he is withholding any information. I believe that there's nothing to give the state mental hospital or the state evaluator to substantiate the claims because they don't exist. Evidence is not just, oh, Leticia says, okay, when it comes to a mental health evaluation, nobody is in believe Tecia mode. Okay?
Which the judge said in the beginning that they couldn't get my work records. Remember, they wanted them. Okay?
Yeah.
But that was unless you used them for mental health or whatever, right? Okay.
Right.
So therefore, the state hospital could have seen like where I had to go to the sessions through the school district, because they first I got a recommendation to go to one place, right? But then come to find out, it was a mental health place, but it was for people who had drug-induced psychosis. So that didn't work
shit.
out. So I had to find a whole other place. Like, I don't have drug-induced psychosis. I have no history of drug use because I've never done drugs. So that was a whole, like, whatever. And, like, the whole thing with them was they were, like, asking what, you know, like, because, you know, they always ask you that. Like, are you doing drugs? Are you drinking? Are you whatever? Are you depressed? Whatever. But my doctor in South Carolina just did it as manic depressive because, you know, that was before they were saying, like, bipolar 1, bipolar 2, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he was doing like the different medicines or whatever, but I would refuse to take some of them because they make me feel crazy, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think that's what they want, that one, because it'll show like taking the SSRIs, Zyprexa, or...
Hey, Lucky Spencer, good to see you. I hope you feel better. Got a lot of people that are sick lately.
I was like, no, I'm not taking that. This made me
Oh,
feel
sorry,
this way.
Allie.
But then
No, I just hope they feel better too. And titanium I've read a lot about that. I have some mouthwash with it, but yeah, I'll have to look more into it. You should email me about it or something. All right, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh, the
I just
colloidal
can't
silver.
comment. Yeah. And I'm not exiting because my sound keeps going. It's not my internet. My internet's staying connected. It's just I don't know if this is the best for. I don't know. I think it's just
I
taking my
think it
sound. I'm not
works
sure.
better when you're on a computer,
Okay, that makes sense.
not your phone. But I don't like, if I'm not like, I'm trying to get away from StreamYard. I don't want to pay that $44.99 a month. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
I'm not
I get
paying
it.
that.
And the school district thing just said I could get my license back, and I had to do a hearing board, and they were like, well, obviously we know that you're a great teacher, you do all these things right, you know, we're just really concerned with your mental health. Those emails are in.
Sorry.
No, Allie. You're a great teacher, Tecia. We know you do everything right, but guess what? We're going to yank your licensure because you have mental health issues. Is that even how it works? I'm pretty sure that's not how it works.
No. We're just worried about your mental health. You do everything right and everything.
Yeah,
And you're a great
everything.
teacher. Yeah.
In fact, we think that you ought to be teaching teachers how to teach because you do everything correctly. You do everything right all the time. You're just the best, Tecia. Yes, Patricia
that's
Burns. Amy is to Leticia what Renfield is to Dracula. The step and fetch. Yup. Exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Henry.
They pull
Right.
away your licensure because they're concerned about your mental health. Stop it, Leticia.
I didn't mean to laugh in your ear, but I just thought like I have to share this laugh with you because that was just too comical.
It's such cockamamie BS. Leticia, like we've been hearing like a lot, like a whole lot of poppycock lately, right? But I think that this amount it's usually spread out, you know? And this is like a concentrated amount of poppycock, and it's like a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God, this is the worst. Okay, here we go.
In my email account from where they're saying yes, where they're concerned with my mental health, that they wanted me to seek some professional help, and they were going to unsuspend my license, that they weren't going to punish me for it.
Right. Well, I mean, that right there, if your employer is saying, like, you know, they're concerned about your mental health, that right there, I mean, that says a lot. And I'm not trying to, like, you know, say there's anything wrong with you per se, but it would definitely help prove what you're trying to say. You know what I mean? It's backing up what you're claiming.
Yeah, so he explained that to me, and those were things that, you know.
Amy, what do you mean there's nothing? You're not trying to say there's something wrong with Leticia per se? Girl, there's a lot wrong with Leticia per se.
Per se. Yeah, and also I mean, it is really interesting to hear her talk about this, but I just I don't believe that's how it works at all. And I'm not a teacher. I don't know anything about it. Ash said she was a teacher for almost a decade and they don't just pull your license. I mean, it just sounds like bullshit. So I'm surprised that Amy just like, again, there she is just appeasing her. What do you mean they pulled your license? Wouldn't they just maybe put you on leave? If you were this great teacher they loved, hey, why don't you go to the hospital? Go get some help. Let's put you on leave or
Right.
whatever. You know what I mean? Nah, that's bullshit, but
Right.
whatever.
Here she comes talking about, I'm not saying that there's something wrong with you per se. Are you talking to the same person that we're listening to? Because there's
Yeah.
definitely something wrong with this hoe, Amy.
When he goes to South Carolina, and he's getting all that extra stuff. Like, you can see the stuff in my emails, but if you can get official documentation, like other than just emails, if you can get it where, you know, it's your actual records, it's even better. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, and like, I had to do military counseling through Military One Source, and I know you know what that is, because
Yes, I've done the same thing. I had to do counseling to them too.
Yeah.
You have 1 minute remaining.
Yeah, so these are all things they didn't never, like, and I told them these things, and I even answered them on the questionnaire papers.
They didn't know about any of that?
I told them and answered it, but they didn't ask for anything. Instead, they just wanted to be biased and do what they wanted to do and just be like, oh, okay, so I've been basically making all this up since I was 10 years old.
Okay, I see where we're going here. The men in hats and beards who have a department solely devoted to messing with Leticia and making things difficult for her have now recruited the Colorado hospital, the mental hospital. They're all cahooters to cahoot against Leticia because they're just big meanie heads who don't like her for no reason because she does everything right. She's the smartest person in every room all the time. And this is just one big lie. And everybody is out to get Leticia. Thanks to the men in hats and beards.
Not surprised because everybody, you know, that's unusual for Tecia. I'm not surprised to hear that. We know everybody's always trying to make things difficult for her
Right.
in her South Carolina schools, in Colorado schools, and Colorado jails, and Kansas jails, in the prison. It doesn't matter where. There's always somebody there just trying to make things difficult for her. You know.
Right. And also, so she's, allegedly all these things according to Leticia, which Leticia's word is all the evidence that any entity, any facility, any branch of government, that's all that anybody should ever need. Leticia's word is evidence, the end. But what I'm curious about is Leticia spent an awful lot of time with Aunt Brenda. Aunt Brenda helped to raise Leticia. Now, don't you think at some point they would have contacted her, at least the defense? Because didn't they? Didn't Dr. Lewis talk about speaking to Aunt Brenda?
Yes.
Yeah. And how come Aunt Brenda wasn't called to testify?
She said that she did, you know, she does her own investigation basically into friends, family, past employees.
Yes. The state does as well. They both do. They want historical documentation. So how come if Leticia has been, having dissociative identity disorder, how come it is that they didn't call Aunt B's cookies to the stand to talk about all the time she dissociated and switched personalities? Probably because it didn't fucking happen, Leticia. Stop playing with these people. Wasting time.
Man, I need an Oscar.
Yeah, right. I was gonna say, even if you were as a child, that would be extremely hard to make up a consistent lie from 10 years old going forward. You know what I mean? Like,
that's part of the issue, Amy. Her lies aren't consistent. That's how she gets caught.
Yeah, especially that my dad knew, especially that my guidance counselor knew. Like, come on now.
Right? Yeah.
So
I mean, oh my goodness.
I circled the wrong boxes, and I've had proof of it for years. Of my mania, of the whole thing that happened when I was 16, where I disassociated and didn't even know where they were going until they showed up and showed me a video. So I planned that then.
Thank you for using Global Tellink.
Yeah, we've had enough.
Hello.
Hey, I won't call for a few days, but I was gonna.
No,
say,
you're fine. You're fine.
I was gonna say I tried to call Brenda 2 times, but she didn't answer. So if you'll just let her know, she don't think I'm not trying to call her.
Just so y'all know, I went and looked at the call logs. I mean, the player is right there. The calls occur in order, even the redacted calls. So it's not like they remove the calls or delete the calls. We can still see them. They're just not there. There are no calls of her trying to call Aunt Brenda that she didn't answer, because those are listed.
Interesting. So she just wants to keep Amy on the phone. Or see, that shows me there's no way she's that interested in talking to Amy. She just wants to get something out to the DA. You know what I mean? This is her getting her message out, or to the public.
I think it's more to the public.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, this is to get a message out. If she said she called Brenda and didn't, oh, I won't call you for a few days because she's keeping her on the phone. Wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that there's no calls between that where she tried to call Aunt Brenda, right, because we talked about this. So
we didn't talk about like
that specifically. We just talked about the calls
in order.
Yes,
you're right. I forgot about that. There are none.
So here she goes, starting out this call with another lie. I mean, it's par for the course. I don't even know why I'm surprised. All right, here we go.
Yeah, I can let her know.
Yeah, I tried twice, but she must be busy. She's probably on a mission.
Yeah, I think she said today when she was getting ready to leave, I think she said she had to go run some errands, or she had some services that she had to do, but yeah, she didn't really say how much she had to do.
Yeah, she's probably on a mission doing that.
Yeah, she's so funny. I love her dog. Her dog he's so cute and he's so good.
Trader's good. Trader's spoiled.
Yeah, he's a good boy. He met my dog, and then we let him inside. My husband was like, oh my God, I want one just like him. And your Aunt Brenda's like, I have a feeling that your husband's going to end up taking over my dog while he's here. I think probably.
Yeah, Trader's good. Yeah. What kind of dog you got?
They said that she was like either a pit or a boxer mix. We don't really know what she is. She's some kind of mixed breed dog, but she's a medium-sized dog, and she's really well behaved, and she likes other dogs. So I was telling your Aunt Brenda that, when Trader comes over, she'll probably be very submissive to him. And Brenda's like, well, he's not really a dominant type either, so they might just end up chilling out together.
Yeah, no, he don't leave the house. Like, he don't leave the yard. You can let him run around the whole yard, and he'll come right back to the door. I mean,
Yeah, he was out exploring in my front yard and my backyard. And Brenda, she called him back to her, and he came right back.
Yeah, he's spoiled. Like, I'm telling you, she buys him like steaks and chickens. And
She was telling me that one of her friends was watching him one time and cooked up some kind of steak for him. I was like, oh my goodness.
Yep.
She was like, yeah. She was like, if y'all go out to eat, I'll leave you a little bit of money. That way you can pick him up a hamburger. I was like, okay.
Yeah. That's what he does now. He is full, and she's always like, I was like, hey, Brenda, Trader would be fine, because,
Yeah.
He was going to stay with Sadie, but, of course, Aunt Brenda always makes it seem like Harley can't do whatever, and I'm just like, whatever. The child can take care of dogs since she was little. She had puppies when she was freaking born,
Yeah.
Like, she can take care of dogs forever, but Aunt Brenda just be doing the most, because he's like her kid,
Yeah.
Leticia, did you ever stop to think that perhaps, and I don't know the answer to this because we haven't heard the, I would imagine that this is going to be covered tomorrow on Allie's channel with those calls, but did you ever stop to think that maybe Aunt Brenda feels like Harley has enough on her plate, and that she just, because she works and and is gone so much, that it's not the ideal situation for Trader to be in, that he is used to having somebody around all of the time, and Amy clearly doesn't go anywhere or do anything, and she's cool chilling at the house, and maybe she felt like that was a better environment. It has absolutely nothing to do with whether she thinks Harley is competent to watch a dog or not. But please continue to dog out poor Aunt Brenda, who is financially supporting you. You turd.
It's funny.
Yeah,
She was
Yeah.
telling me all about it, and she's like, I'll come over on Tuesday, and I'll come over a little bit early so I can explain everything.
I forgot something. Now, what I want to know is, and I'm very curious if this gets talked about in the calls tomorrow, is the fact that Aunt Brenda came over and chilled with Amy at Amy's house for quite a while before deciding that Amy was okay to leave Trader with, or, and so I'm
Yeah.
sort of, I kind of want to know what Aunt Brenda's impressions of Amy are. I mean, I know
Yeah, me
she's
too.
fine with her doing a little bit of work for her, but that's your dog. Like,
Yeah,
like,
and
I'm
not
kind
only
of
that,
curious.
we're gonna hear not only what Aunt Brenda thinks about Amy, but what Harley thinks about Aunt Brenda giving the dog to Amy.
Yes.
And I'm sure we're gonna hear Tecia talk shit about all of them.
Yes.
Because
Oh
they have,
gosh,
you
yes.
guys, tomorrow we have a very long call with Harley. It's over 30 minutes straight. Right? Or is it over?
Yes.
No, they use a free call and then a full call and then
Yes.
like a half of another call. So
Yes.
it's a long call though.
It's
Yeah.
a long call. It's a long call with Harley, and between Harley, and then there's the last call is Aunt Brenda. So we're gonna get ready to laugh, because Aunt B is gonna say something third off that's gonna make me have to comment.
Like you said, well, I was like, okay, and that's what it reminded me of, it's her like a little baby.
Yeah, that's, because like Harley was like, well, I'll be at work for the hours in the daytime, and so the neighbor was freaking out like, oh my God.
Now, y'all, look at what MK has written. 236 in chat and 98 likes. I'm about to start cutting some hair in here. Please don't, although MK does do good hairs, don't make him. Okay? Come on, y'all. Y'all can definitely help a girl out.
Before
And
he
Kai,
cut hair.
when you're on Jen Lou's channel, what do you do with the like button?
Smash, smash, smash. Yeah.
Yeah. Come on,
Jen, I
y'all.
didn't know that's what he meant. I thought before he cuts hair.
Well, remember, I had joked and appointed. Remember, Sarah Boone wanted hair and makeup, and I had appointed MK
Oh, yeah.
Lynn to do the hairs and the makeup.
Yes. Well, I was doing half Leilani stuff there, so I missed some of it, but I didn't know that. So I thought
Yes.
he meant like, I'll cut you. And then I was like, damn. And then Jen's like, he'll cut your hair. I was like, that's intense, MK, but
Yes, and MK believes in putting a bowl right on top of your head and cutting around the bowl. So if that's the kind of hairdo you want, then for the love of Pete, don't hit that thumbs up. But if that's not the kind of hairdo you want, you better hit that thumbs up.
One of the kids at their school has that exact haircut, and I'm like, dang, everything's coming back in style.
All right, here we go. We only have a little bit left.
He's not going to make it. He's just going to be so upset. He's going to be in the house without anybody. And I'm like, oh, my God.
Yeah, she was telling me that, like, he sleeps in bed with her and stuff. And my dog, because she's so big, she's like in a crate, and she's crate trained. So at nighttime she sleeps in her crate.
1,000,000 sparkles, 33 months. Thank you so much. That's a long time. That's a day oneer, y'all. Thank you so much for supporting me in the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. 1,000,000 sparkles. Love you, ciao. I do not love Amy or Tecia, for the record.
And I was telling Brenda, I was like, okay, well, I'll let him come upstairs and he can sleep in my bed with me. I'm okay with that. And then, she was telling me about how he only likes certain treats and all this other stuff. It was funny. It was very specific.
I'm telling you, spoiled this all, like, literally. I just feel like, in Brenda, like, really?
Yeah. So, But
my
aside,
mom used to always say that's where I got, you've been around here for too long. You like dogs. You're like them white people. And I'm like, well, you know what? Then that's my comfort because obviously I had none at your house.
yeah. Is that Brenda? Brenda's not. She's not Native American at all.
No, she is. She's
okay.
Her dad, Robert, is white and Native American. So she takes after him. She looks just like him. But you notice a lot of the people in the Native American tribe, they think it's part of the lost colony. So of course they have like a lot of distinctive features of Native American, but then they also have like it's like breeded with white people, obviously. And so they think the tribe is part of the lost colony, but it makes sense and the location's there. And Brenda's her real family's Scots, and there's a lot.
The location is not there.
No, it's not. Dr. T, I'm sure you know this, and this is probably just a slip because you're so smart and everything. But first of all, it's not breeded; it's bred or breed. But breeding is for animals. Procreating is for humans. Procreating is for humans. Breeding is for animals. So, I mean, far be it from me to correct a good doctor here, but
my phone rang. But so I live right by the lost colony. When I drive to the beach houses we go to, we pass it. Roanoke Island, we actually cross over it. So, and I've Googled because I wanted to go to the courthouse down there to get some of her records to see how far it is from me. And it's like 4 hours. It's not close at all. Like it's pretty far. So she's an idiot, but whatever.
Well, she also, I was just telling the audience, she also says that, they breeded, which is not a word, with the Native Americans breeded with
oh God.
Yeah. But breeding is for animals. Animals breed, Leticia. Humans procreate. Dr.
And
T.
breeded isn't a word anyways, even if they did breeded.
Even if breed was the right word, breeded is not.
Yes, exactly.
A lot of Scots that look like white. They have colored eyes and white. And it's crazy. Yeah. That's very common in tribes. And that's why they think it's like a mixture or whatever. But
that's interesting. I was going to ask, aside from, all that other stuff that's going on, is there anything new and exciting going on where you're at? Anything crazy yet?
Not really. We've had a few crazies in and out of here, but they've got them out of here quick. Everybody's pretty calm right now. I guess we're in a calm wave for a few days. We'll see how long it lasts.
Right? That's a good thing, but, it won't last long. We'll start bringing people in that are just off the rails.
I know, off the charts, And then, Josh was like, what's your favorite place to eat at? And I was like, go eat at Grumpy's Mom. So he looked it up and said he was going to go there and eat. I guess him and Kyle were going.
Yes.
The way she talks about Tellini, man, I think she's crushing on him or something. Like, seriously, I don't know. Just the way she talks about him is weird. It's hitting my ears weird.
It does hit I felt the same way today when I was listening to this. It does hit a little weird. And it feels like, Leticia thinks that she's irresistible to everybody. So,
yeah.
It's the way that she speaks about him as if their relationship, as if they're friends and not attorney-client.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. It's like a friend, but also it's almost, if it's not a crush, it's like where a friendship that you really admire the person. You know what I mean? Like that kind of, it's like she speaks of him with admiration in a way. I don't know.
Right. But it's also like she's deluded about where she's at. Like as if she's talking about a friend, not about her attorney who is going to making this trip to specifically pick up records that don't exist.
Yeah. that's supporting you in a case, where
Right. You're
not
charged with
what I mean.
murder. You are charged
Yeah.
with murder. He's building your case. But she's acting like this is just a regular phone conversation, like a conversation between two girls who are just, shooting the shit, not a jail call that's being recorded. Fuck off, Leticia.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess they would be flying in. I don't know, for some reason I was thinking they were out here. So they're gonna fly in.
No, Amy, they're gonna walk in or take the bus. Get out of here. Of course they're gonna fly in.
And then how long are they staying there for?
So they'll be there Monday. What date is Monday?
Amy, are you writing a book? How long will they be there? Stop it.
Monday is the 24th. Oh, no, sorry, 25th.
Oh, so they'll be there 25th to the 29th.
Okay, so they'll be there for a while.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll call you, Amy.
I'm like,
well, hopefully they'll get to sightsee.
I'm like, y'all going to expensive time of year now.
You got right, spring break.
Yeah, they're like, I know. I'm like, so yeah, they were talking about that, and I was like, yeah, and they're like, what other places? So just told them some places that are cool to go. Obviously they gotta eat. I mean, they ain't going there to live it up, but I mean, they obviously gotta eat. So I was like, check out this place. They have good food, good sushi, good whatever at this place. So
yeah. Well, I mean, hopefully they get to see some of the cool stuff while they're out there, even if they're working. Just looking around while they're driving or whatever. Because Myrtle Beach is a really pretty place.
Yeah, definitely. So
it's one of my favorite places to go.
I don't know if we get to drive down to Charleston to get the other stuff in that amount of time, because Charleston's 2-hour drive. But if they might take a day trip and drive there to get it, and at least if they get it, now go ahead and have it start faxing back, that type of thing.
Right. Yeah. Well, hopefully they would. I mean, it would make sense. I mean, a 2-hour drive to me is it's nothing.
That was supposed to be what Kaylin did, but like I said, if they would have had everything in order, you know what I'm saying, matching what I was saying, that could have been more productive for her. But it was, I guess they're not really used to people being on point, knowing what they're talking about. You know what I'm saying? I guess they're not used to it. They're dealing with a lot of people doing drugs. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so, they were not used to that, and so that's the biggest thing for them, I guess, was once they found out, when I told them about the people following me and that whole situation, and they knew I was dead serious that this people had tried to rope me in that stuff on that day of that school shooting and all that, they then was oh gosh, you really were paranoid. There were people following you, so I guess that kind of helped them realize I wasn't just making up.
Leticia, paranoia is an irrational fear. Okay? If they were actually following you, then it wouldn't be paranoia, idiot. I know they're not used to people like you who are on point and know what they're talking about.
Up shit, it was real, and I was really hiding out on bait, the proof, it helped them a lot.
Yeah.
Really, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, you know how many times, I didn't really think about it too much until recently. You know how many times, I thought people were following me, coming back from, Walmart or whatever, you know what I mean? Somebody will come be behind me and
that's called traffic, Amy. That's traffic. Nobody's following you. The government isn't following you. The men in hats and beards aren't following you. The CIA isn't coming for you. We call that traffic. Sheesh.
Follow me the exact same route that I take to get into our neighborhood, which is it's a unique way to get to where I live. So a lot of people don't take that way. And I started panicking. There was one time the guy followed me all the way from, I think it was Starbucks on Skyville Road in Fayetteville. He followed me all the way from there to my house out in Hope Mills. And I called my husband. I'm I think this guy's following me. So he was parking the driveway or whatever. And I was scared, but it's it happens a lot. and it happens to people that don't suspect it. Like, you hear about that crap all the time on TV. People aren't expecting the crap to happen. Then it gets kidnapped.
Make sure you keep it, because if you ever have to fill out any tests for your doctors, you don't want them to be like, oh, you're malingering, and then find it out and be like, oh, okay. So make sure you keep it. Just a little FYI.
I've even looked like under my car, like under the wheel wells for like trackers and shit before, like.
Yeah, like that's why I was on base, because I knew they couldn't get access on base.
Are you trying to win over Leticia by trying to pretend that you have something in common with her? I mean, Leticia's blowing smoke, right? Like, none of the stories that she said. There wasn't actually anybody following her, nor was she ever afraid of anybody following her. This is all made up, right? And you're over here trying to identify with her, trying to find commonality with her based on a lie. Wow.
And they're like, why does this guy keep doing you like this over a 2002 Beamer? And I was like, I don't know. Why would he keep coming to my work? Why was he calling me? Like, why was the principal walking around with Apple Watch? I don't know. You tell me. Like, kind of seems odd that the Sanchez guy, Rusty, just appeared out of nowhere. You know what I mean? With Maria's last name. Like, come on now.
Yeah, I mean, all it could have taken was this guy seeing you one time, who knows where, and then he followed you from there.
Allie, look at MK's comment in the chat that I can't highlight. Oh my God, MK.
I love keep them coming, MK, because I miss your comments like
Me
that.
too. Me too. I love it whenever he makes these kinds of comments. Oh my God. Here we go.
Because people are freaking creepy. You know what I mean?
And then they even have in the report, there's a van outside, and apparently Lena was walking near the van. That's the same van I'm sitting there texting about, freaking out about this crazy people sitting in the van. They never got out. And I'd be telling the doctor that, and they're like, where's this report? I'm like, it's on there. It says Lena talks to the guy in the van. It's parked out there.
Yeah.
And they're looking at me like, oh, where's this at? Dummies, read the report.
Right? Reading is not hard.
That's why I was emailing people.
Hold on a minute. Leticia, who's the author of this report? Dummies. Was this report authored by the Volturi and Invisible Ink? There's no report. This did not happen. This does not exist. This is all lies. And here's Amy. Yeah, that one time I was crawling around on the floor looking under the tires and everything. I was so scared that the traffic had followed me home. Because I'm the only one who knows this weird, obscure way to get into my neighborhood. Not all the other homes that are living in people that are living in my neighborhood. I'm the onlyest one who could have ever thought about the secret way to get into my neighborhood. It was very scary. I don't blame you, Leticia. These people, they just don't know you. They don't know you like I do. If they would just listen to you like I've listened to you, Tecia, they just love you like I do and see how misunderstood you are.
They know you like I do. They don't know you like I know you. Look at Ash's comment, though, the Apple Watch, because Ash, I couldn't remember. I went and pulled the lawsuit paperwork and sent it to Jen, but Jen had mentioned that. But see.
Yes. I mean, let's read this sentence out loud. The principal of the school, who probably has a PhD and a family, risked it all to follow Tecia with an Apple Watch. I mean, wouldn't you? Uh-oh. Allie, you got to go out and come back in, babe. You're talking and we can't hear you, but I want to hear what you say. I'm going to push play because we can't hear her. I bet she can hear me, though. And then when she'll leave, she'll come back. We'll listen to the rest of this conversation, and then we'll hear what Allie's thoughts are.
Because the van, no one ever did anything, and they just kept sitting there and parking there and have been doing that since we got back, and the black car since we got back, and this is why I was sending people all these messages. Like, hello, it's clearly there in your report. You're saying it's on a camera that you saw the van set in there, but I'm just crazy, you know?
Right? Well,
Thank you for using Global Telling.
Yeah, we've all had enough of your BS, Leticia. Here's the deal. Aren't you, isn't that what you're claiming? Isn't that what not guilty by reason of insanity is? So which is it, Leticia? Did you do this as Maria Sanchez because you have dissociative identity disorder, or did the League of Men in Hats and Beards coordinate all of this because of your baby daddy that nobody knows about, that you've only ever talked about since your arrest, and his connections, and this was all a setup?
None of it makes sense.
Shit, you cut out again.
So why does she, I don't know. I think it's her pride or something, her ego. She doesn't want, I don't know, but I didn't actually hear what she said since I had to refresh, like the last part I didn't get to hear.
I'm
But
going to rewind it for you.
yeah,
Okay.
I like to re-listen anyway, even when I do hear. So definitely, because some parts, I don't know, I just like to hear things more than once.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
All right, hold on now. Okay, here we go. Let's hear the rest of, let's hear this delusion.
I've even looked like under my car, like under the wheel wells for like trackers and shit before, like.
Hell yeah, like that's why I was on base, because I knew they couldn't get access on base. And they're like, why does this guy keep doing you like this over a 2002 Beamer? And I was like, I don't know. Why would he keep coming to my work? Why was he calling me? Like, why was the principal walking around with Apple Watch? I don't know. You told me. Like, kind of seems odd that the Sanchez guy, Rusty, just appeared out of nowhere. You know what I mean? With Maria's last name. Like, come on now.
Yeah, I mean, all it could have taken was this guy seeing you one time, who knows where, and then he followed you from there because people are freaking creepy. You know what I mean?
And then they even have in the report there's a van outside, and apparently Lena was walking near the van. That's the same van I'm sitting there texting about, freaking out about this crazy people sitting in the van. They never got out. And I'd be telling the doctor that, and they're like, where's this report? I'm like, it's on there. It says Lena talks to the guy in the van that's parked out there.
Yeah.
And they're looking at me like, oh, where's this at? Dummies, read the report.
Right? Reading is not hard.
That's why I was emailing people. You know, like, because the van, like, no one ever did anything. Like, and they just kept sitting there and parking there and have been doing that since we got back, and the black car since we got back. And, like, this is why I was sending people all these messages. Like, hello, it's clearly there in your report. You're saying it's on a camera that you saw the van set in there, but I'm just crazy, you know?
Right? Well,
Thank you for using Global Telling.
Was that an inmate hang-up?
I'll have to go back and look. I think time ran out on that one.
Did you hear the 1 minute time?
Yes, I did.
Okay, I guess I was zoned in on what they were saying. Wow. Okay, so Lena was walking by. She saw that, must have seen that in a report. I'd have to go back through the discovery to see if that's even in there, because, in the beginning, they will note everything. There are things that aren't necessarily involved with the case in discovery. But see, oh God, she just frustrates me so much with her shit. It's like going in circles. You know what I mean?
Well, right.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I'll say this. What she's saying is that there is a report that she notified people about this dangerous van and Rusty Sanchez.
Oh,
Okay?
I thought she was saying like she saw in the discovery, because
She is
said
saying
there's a
that.
report in the
She does
discovery.
say that. She does say
Okay.
that. Okay. But if Leticia is making these reports, right, if she's reporting that there is a van and that why didn't you take a picture of it, Leticia? If you were busy emailing, you obviously had your phone with you. So why didn't you take a picture or take video?
I just can't believe it, because she literally told Amy that she was stressed out, the only one doing everything, losing her
Exactly.
mind. She was, She admitted it without saying it. Then she walks it back, and I don't know. What is she trying? I don't know. I'm there's no way to make sense of it. It can't be for the case. How's that going to be helpful? It can't be for, I think it's pride. That's the only way, and there is no way to make sense of it. It's just bullshit.
It's right. I mean, I
The
because
Apple
here
Watch
she
part.
is. The Apple Watch part is ridiculous. Who, what, Letty, what does she think an Apple Watch does in 2020? A 2020 Apple Watch or
Yeah, I
2019,
don't
whatever
know.
it was. 'Cause I think it was actually before, I think it was 2020, 2019.
So was
Following
that
her
actually,
around with
okay.
an Apple Watch.
Was that in the lawsuit too, or has she only said it in the calls?
I feel like she's only said it in the calls, but it's been a while because sometimes, like I can't keep
Yes.
a lot of Leticia data stored in my brain. It's not good for me.
I
So a
cannot
lot
either.
of those things get overwritten. It's my brain's way of being like, nah, you
Well,
don't
it's
need to
kind
hold on to
of,
this ridiculousness.
it's weird because, like, think about some of the other cases you've talked about, or even I just did that timeline on Stephen Stearns, and even before that, I can remember details, which that's a lot fresher, don't get me wrong.
Mhm.
But I think because there's so much bullshit and she's always spinning a different story, it's harder to remember.
Right. And I
Like,
think
I don't know, it's hard for me to keep track of everything unless I go back and actually look. That's why I always like to go back and look at this stuff actually instead of, because I know I'm not remembering it right.
right. Well, also, you and most most creators pride themselves on being on uncovering the facts of the case. And so when it comes to Leticia and all of her stories, there's very little facts. I would remember stories that had evidence to support them. But when it's just lies and BS, it just is in one ear and out the other. Now I might retain like the overall idea of the lie, right? But I'm not going to retain all of the details the way that I would
Yeah.
for facts. You know
Wait, does that show our internet?
what this?
The bar up by our mic
I don't know.
on the screen.
I don't know
What
what
are
that
those
shows.
bars?
I don't know.
Sorry to zone out like that. No, it's completely
I have
random.
no
I was like,
idea.
what?
I don't know what that's about.
I bet it
I'll
does,
look
because
at it.
isn't Streamlabs like something you download on the computer? And
It
it's
is.
like
It is.
instead of a cloud-based, I bet you it is. So
But
it individually.
but Talk Studio is web-based. So it's
Oh,
very
okay.
similar to StreamYard. But it takes up far
Okay.
less memory.
Sorry, I did not mean, my brain is not good today. I told you I'm sick. I don't feel good.
Oh, babe. Well, we
I'm
can get
listening
off
to
of
you.
here because we've been on for 2 hours and 17 minutes and you don't feel good. And I know it's getting close to dinner time there, or if it's not past dinner time there. And so we can just,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's just absolutely ridiculous. This is why I don't retain any of this information. But it is interesting to listen to what she's pulling behind the scenes while she has all the audacity to be blaming everybody else. It's everyone else's fault. Everyone is violating everything. Ridiculous. Leticia, shut up. Shut up.
Yeah. Poor victim Leticia.
I'm
God
so
almighty.
curious to hear what Harley says tomorrow and Aunt Brenda. Because, Leticia's got to walk that fine line. Because what's going to happen is, I guarantee you, Aunt Brenda is going to tell her, now Tisha Lee, and I'm going to tell you why I wouldn't let Harley watch that traitor. I'm going to tell you why. Tisha Lynn,
Yep.
and what can Tisha Lynn really do? She is not going to defend Harley. She's going to jump right in there and talk shit. And that'll be that. But I'm curious. I want it. They've never, Leticia and Harley, in all these years all the years of phone calls that we have, and we have from 2020, we have 2021, and we have 2022. In all of that time, we've not really heard. There's never been calls like that. Now, has there been calls back to back? Yes, but they're very, very short
Yeah.
durations, and they're usually about one specific thing. Like, did you
Yep.
check this? Yes, I checked that. We'll call them, and then I'll call you back and tell me what they said. That kind of thing. They're very quick, not this length of time ever.
Yeah. Yep. I'm really looking forward to it too. So she has a long call with Harley, you guys, and that call with Brenda. And I haven't edited yet, so I don't even know I'm going to do it tonight. I'm
Okay.
about to I'm going to go lay down for a little bit and just do that and lay down. And yeah, we'll be here tomorrow to go over it. I'm excited to hear it with you. And Jen, thank you for putting up with me.
Oh,
And we
stop
need to
it.
do some practicing panels
We do.
on Streamlabs for the audio, like come on the computer instead or something. 'Cause
Yes.
that sucks because like in the beginning, like I said, I'm sitting there laughing at you, responding to you, and you're like, Allie, are you there? Well, okay. And that just sucks. I don't want it to be like that. So
I know. We'll figure it out. We'll do it, we'll do a stream where we just practice, and we will get to the bottom of what these little bars are,
yeah.
because I want to
Yes.
know too. Now I'm curious.
Yes. And no, Jen does the best Ain't Bee's voice. That's why I laughed like while you were talking, because I saw MK laugh. I knew what he was laughing at, and it made me laugh because it is. I love it. All
Well,
of them though. You do all of them good.
Well, now listen, baby. Now you go lay down and take you a little nap. All right, and I hope you feel better. Okay,
Okay,
baby. I
thank
love you.
I love you. No, thank you guys for being here, seriously, and putting up with me too in the chat. And then Jen, thank you for
Stop.
everything.
We don't put up with you. We like having you. It's not a put up situation. You're my friend, and I like
Thank
hanging
you.
out with you.
Same.
But I
Same,
think
same.
honestly, Allie, all the streaming services, no matter what you use to stream, I think they all work best when you use a computer, either a laptop or a desktop. I really do think that's the truth.
I do too. It's like usually when we do them on your channel, I do on my phone so I can be more mobile and come and go and that kind of thing. But I'll just plan it a little differently.
What we need to do is I need to get up there, and we need to, would I be up there? No, now I need to get over there. Maybe it is solo
Yes.
up there. I need to get over there, and
Up
we
and
need
over.
to build you like a little she shed so you
I
can have a
know.
little place to stream.
It would be so
Like a
awesome. I
little,
want
with
one
some
so bad.
AC in the summer and some heat in the winter. Okay,
Yes.
baby. That's
Great
what we need.
idea, ain't Jen?
Jen.
No. All right. Well, I'll refresh my memory before we come back on the lawsuit too, and I
Yes,
sent it to
and
you so you can
yes,
go through it.
and I will. We'll talk about that more in depth. All right.
Yeah.
So we'll know
All
what
right.
this Apple Watch business is about. Fucking Tecia.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. Have a fantastic rest of your evening, and I will talk to you guys later. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I appreciate it very, very much. If you have not done so, please do me a favor and give your girl a thumbs up on the stream. Do all the YouTube-y things. Come on, y'all. Do for the algorithm. You know how YouTube likes their algorithm. All right. Y'all take care, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.